You're in tune to the FuseBox Radio Broadcast.
Turn the music up inside my session. These folks gotta hear my message.
Bringing balanced black radio to the masses.
What's going on? You're now in tune to another session of the syndicated worldwide FuseBox Radio Broadcast, bringing the balance back to black radio since 1998. Whether it's on your FM dial, internet radio station, favorite podcast, service of choice, or website, this is DJ Fusion. We are wrapping up revamping the FuseBox Radio Lab, so in the meantime, we've been trying to pull up some old school and a little bit of new school interviews, shows, so forth and so on from the archive for folks to listen to while we're getting everything in gear to get back into full swing with all the new live recorded shows and all that good stuff. This week's podcast actually consists of some old interview audio from last year featuring Super Joe Pardo of the Mid-Atlantic Podcast Conference. He interviewed myself as one of the presenters of that conference, and we just went back and forth and had a really good conversation about music in general, how we got into indie media and podcasting, and a whole lot of other things in terms of how indie media is great for different voices to go ahead and represent themselves that usually aren't in the corporate-driven mainstream media discourse. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this show, and we have plenty more coming up in the pipeline literally within the next few days. You can always check out what's going on with the FuseBox Radio Broadcast family over at our official website, FuseBoxRadio.com, FuseBoxRadio.com. Our official blog site is BlackRadioIsBack.com. And all your favorite podcast apps of choice should have us in your selection. If you really dig what we're doing, please give us a rating. It helps us get to more ears and other stuff, and we really, really appreciate it. So, yep, let's go ahead and get right into this bit of an interview segment. This was in late 2016 with Super Joe Pardo of the Mid-Atlantic Podcast Conference, interviewing myself and us just having a nice back and forth on indie media and podcasting in general. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. All right.
Now we're moving on to Mary Nichols. So awesome to have you not only here, but to be speaking at Mid-Atlantic Podcast Conference.
Well, thank you for having me. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. Looks like it's going to be fun, meeting a whole bunch of different people, see some of these podcast folks who I've just read about, or I see, their podcast links and all of that. So, yeah, it should be cool. It should be cool.
Mary, why don't you give some background about what you do and how you do it? Because you do it like nobody else I know.
Well, that is very kind. A good thing to hear in the evening. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I am the founder of the syndicated FuseBox Radio Broadcast. On that show, I go under DJ Fusion. My part of the Black Hawk also does the show as well. I've been doing the show since 1998. I actually originally started doing it in college when I was a student at Rutgers University. Shout out to New Brunswick, New Jersey, Central Jersey, Northern Jersey, all that good stuff. And I think I came into a time where just a lot of technology was changing at large and whatnot, especially in the realms of music and just basic communications. A few years after I started doing the show, people were like, you ever hear this thing called a podcast? I was like, podcast? Like, yeah, people can like pretty much listen to your show any and everywhere and just download it. And it was like, this sounds cool. Why not give it a shot? Because the thing that makes me feel old while I'm saying it, even though I'm not necessarily old, is that, this was when MP3s were still relatively new. When they had all the super weird MP3 players before, the iPod officially dropped. Net radio was super, super new, and all of that. And we got on board with the folks at Podomatic. and have been rolling ever since. I think this year now is officially at least the 9th year we've been podcasting. 8th, 9th year. So yeah, like for us, it was one of those things where it's like, wow, somebody can listen to us beyond our boundaries in New Jersey and New York. And we start seeing, download stats and all that good stuff. You're like, wow, somebody actually gives a damn about checking us out. And we're just kind of just being here, playing music, talking all the whatever we feel like doing, having fun and all that good stuff. Since the show originally was a late night show. So I was doing it, like, my dorm was literally across the street from the radio station. So I had, like, a midnight to 2 a.m. slot where apparently they're like, this crazy person wants to do this show. And, yeah, like, just been rocking it ever since. I think podcasting just really helped expand what people were doing with the show. And just meeting with different folks, connecting with different folks, especially when we went from, God, again, this makes me feel old, fax to email to instant messaging, the social networks and all this different types of stuff. And yeah, that's the real short story about how the show came to be. What we do is we always say that we're two average Black American folks just talking about whatever's on our mind. And then we interview people. We play all different types of music from the Black diaspora, such as hip hop, soul, funk, jazz, reggae, and plenty more. And yeah, that's basically it. I don't like the term urban radio or, all of that because, well, it sounds corny for one. And I don't necessarily like the fact that it puts people in a box. But that's essentially what we do. We talk about everything from politics to pop culture and just whatever else is going on. So you might hear us talk about how we feel the presidential election is screwed and then talk about, like, Ghostbusters and the latest Black Panther comic and whatever else is in between. So that's how we rock and roll.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, so you said 9 years of podcasting?
Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, having that level of experience in the house and speaking is just a testament to what we do. I just realized that my light wasn't on. All right, there we go.
Okay, you got the spotlight on.
Yeah, I got a little. Well, it's like kind of up and off, but it definitely brightens up. It sharpens up the image a little bit. Not that people can really see it on the Facebook Live because I'm just like this little tiny guy in the window. But yeah, no, it's having the level of experience here in South Jersey at Mid-Atlantic Podcast Conference, doing it in a way that's different from way most conferences, not podcasts, but conferences are doing it, and bringing people together. Thank you. Man, I'm still fighting that cough that has just been. It just won't go away. I know a lot of people dealing with that actually.
Yeah, I'm team allergies myself, so I understand you.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
That was me earlier today. So,
so what is your talk going to be about?
Basically, I'm just going to get into talking about the expansion of diversity in podcasting in terms of all the different voices and things that get represented in this medium right now. Now, for those who see my lovely face or whatever right here, I'm a Black American woman. When I first got into podcasting, it definitely wasn't the landscape it is right now. And I'm very happy that you hear so many different voices and experiences through podcasting. And one thing I'm going to talk about is not just the fact that it's expanded, but why it's so important to have these voices, because we're going to keep it all the way live with independent media. There's only so many venues left that you have to not hear like the same, 2 to 5 viewpoints and all that good stuff. I mean, you can turn to CNN or MSNBC or something and be like, God, it's so cookie cutter, it's ridiculous, whether you agree with the side or not. You don't really get to see complex people. You don't get to really hear complex people and views and stuff like that. And podcasting is just so important on that level to me, and it has a way easier entry point than some other forms of media. And I'm just going to get into some details with that and, hopefully touch base in terms of how extra folks can get into it, or maybe just find those communities that they didn't think existed that do. Because with podcasting, I mean, I'm sure this is probably a cliche that you've already heard. You meet people who they're like, wow, there's somebody else who's like me, who digs this or understands this, and they could be hundreds of miles away. they could be in another country. You know, like I've definitely met great people who I can literally call, you know, friends and family through doing this show. Whether it's people listening to us and touching base, traveling to different places, all other types of stuff. And not to get horribly political right now, listen to the show if y'all want to hear that. You don't get that too much anymore at all, I think. Except via, you know, maybe some various sites and through podcasting where you actually see full people and people that can sometimes disagree but be relatively civil. You know what I'm saying? Have a real conversation instead of scream match A and B and then cut the commercial or whatever else, you know. Like, I think when we talk about diversity in podcasting, lots of folks will think that if you have this particular ethnic background, you only have a particular experience. You know, if you are a male, you'll only have this particular experience. If you're a female, you only have this particular experience. It's like everybody's not going to be able to fit into the box you want them to fit into. And I think podcasting degree forces people to have to go ahead and face that. There's plenty of podcasters I love, and I'm like, I disagree completely with some of the stuff you're saying. And they feel vice versa. But we also have other stuff that we can identify with, you know, and can go forth on various things from there, whether it's like, I feel Batman the Killing Joke sucks. I love it. Let me tell you why. Or I'm leaning a little socialist instead of, you know, democratic. Well, I'll lean this way, but you know what? Let me find out where you're coming from, and we can go from there. We might still disagree, but there's a viewpoint that's out there, and usually one that you're not going to see from a corporate media structure, you know? So, yeah, that's a little bit of what I'm going to get into. And also just the way I think the diversity is being taken with podcasting. It's really interesting seeing these, I guess people would say like groups and conglomerates and stuff with various podcasters right now, where it's just they're like, oh, well, I'm very glad there are people who are in with these companies who are doing podcasting, but there is more diversity beyond the few people of this different ethnicity, of this different sexuality who are out there when you talk about diversity in podcasting. Because while I love that people can work with, just off the top of my head, this is no shade towards anybody at all, with like a BuzzFeed or, you know, NPR, stuff like that, there's way more of us out there. And more folks should get a chance to get people's ears too. Like with Black podcasting, with a real quick example, so many people don't mention folks like, let's say, The Black Guy Who Tips, which is an utterly amazing podcast, husband and wife team, with Rod and Karen, and they have like their own, you know, unique community, folks who, you know, pay for podcasts, you know, they delve into a whole bunch of stuff. But I look at some of these lists and I'm like, again, it's very cool that some other folks are with these bigger companies, but what about these folks who've been doing it for a minute and they have a real big, real solid audience? And just there's so many people like that to me where I'm like, I think they need to get more shine. I think one of the things now with diversity in podcasting is being there, like finding more ways of exposing people to it, you know? Like, I hate the terminology of curator, as it were, when you see these newsletters and stuff like that, because it just sounds so snooty and sedity, like, I'm a tastemaker, I'm a curator. But it's like, maybe we need to have more people who are doing that on certain ends. Just trying to find solutions to, you know, making diversity in podcasting be more than just a outside shallow type of thing in terms of how people from who might be new to podcasting look at stuff, you know? So
yeah, well, in regards to the mainstream media, their biggest problem is they like, hey, you got 2 minutes to make your point, and then we got to cut the, you know, in 3 minutes we got to cut the commercial. And it's tough because like they need the ad revenue to be able to do what they do, because there's such a high cost involved with doing live TV. You know, the cameras, the camera crew, the cable runners, you know, the talent on camera. You know, there's so many aspects to it just to have the building with the air conditioning and the power, and like so they put themselves into that box of needing that level of sponsorship, where as with podcasting, and I totally agree on saying like, hey, podcasting is great, more people are going to find out about podcasting. It's good in some ways when like a celebrity or somebody, you know, whatever ethnicity or gender comes in and says, I'm going to start this podcast. The problem is, and starts a podcast with, like, say, CBS or one of the main broadcasting companies. The problem is it kind of casts shade on us, almost like we're pirate radio at that point, because we're not going to get that level of exposure that we could have gotten before, because we don't have the money to be like, well, every 5 minutes there's going to be a commercial on radio and on TV that says, go to, play.it and listen to podcasts from Snooki or from Paula Deen or from whoever, like whatever flavor, Alec Baldwin, Alec Baldwin. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of thing. It's like you're trying to compete against these people that have pre-established, mega audiences, and there's only so much time in the day for people to listen to begin with. But I love the fact that podcasting, as being such a low barrier to entry, having a microphone and hitting the record button, it really opens up the door for these long form conversations, and finding those people, like you said, that's like, I didn't know anybody else was into iPhone camera lenses. I mean, you probably can't, the people on Facebook Live can't even probably see what I'm holding up, but it's like, we're going to do a whole podcast based around iPhone camera lenses. And that's what our thing is about. And that would never be in the mainstream. Like, it just wouldn't be a thing. But here in this world, we can make that happen.
Indeed. And that's one of the things I think that is just so joyous about podcasting, is that you find a decent host, don't get trashy equipment. I'm sure people will talk about that more during the Mid-Atlantic podcast and all that stuff. You get a decent mic, you get some headphones, you put yourself out there. And I mean, there's going to be like technical tweaks and stuff that you can do. And it's really amazing to see the many ways that people can find you out and, discover what you do. Cause I mean, I've definitely had some weeks where I'm just here like, why the hell am I doing this? Am I crazy? I mean, this year would be the 18th year I've done the show. I don't have kids. This is essentially my kid, doing the FuseBox Radio. And there are times that they're like, I'm out of my mind. This is like the most steady relationship I've ever had is the show. But just the many ways people can reach out to you and the opportunity to have come have been really great. And it's literally been by just me being me, my co-host being my co-host. And there's times where they're like, we're talking into the mic. Who the hell's listening? And somebody's just like, wow, somebody from Japan listens. Somebody from, Tel Aviv listens. Somebody from Brazil listen. A bunch of people right around the corner listen. Cool, people give a damn about us in the DC metro area where I currently reside. That's nice, Like, you just never know how this thing can go. And when you're, saying stuff that doesn't necessarily, again, fit easily into a certain box, it's cool. It's like we talk about quote unquote nerd stuff, but it's not the entire show. We talk about politics, but we don't feel like preaching at nobody all the time or, being on the soapbox. We talk about movies, but that's not our entire thing. We just kind of, find different topics that we want to touch base on during the week. We freeform it. And here's the music that we like, which apparently other people like how we put together music. So it's really, really cool. I think the funny thing now with podcasting is we're at a certain point where I think people are trying to make podcasts like radio or commercial radio. And that has a whole ton of advantages and disadvantages to it, because for people, I'm sure, like me, yourself, and a bunch of folks who've been doing the podcast thing for a minute, you remember a time when people were just there like, what the hell is a podcast?
People are still like
dumb.
that.
People are still like that, but I think they see it a little more. Like, I think once the cereal blew up and some of these other things, and
heard
particularly,
the word. They might not understand it, but they've heard the word.
Like they know it's a thing, and when ABC and CBS and these other folks are doing it, they know that podcasting is a thing. Like in my realm with I guess, again, I hate the term, but I'll just use it for now, like urban radio and all that, or black radio. You have folks who are like literally talking about, y'all are nerds. What the hell is a podcast? Nobody cares about a podcast. If y'all were really doing media, you'd be on real radio. You'd be on BET or MTV or WPGC or et cetera, whatever big station is out in your particular area. And at this juncture, I don't know a DJ that does not have a podcast or is trying to work on a podcast. All of these hip hop guys, like MCs and stuff back in the day who were talking about, I don't know what these podcast guys are talking about, they corny. Half of these guys now have podcasts. Ironically, the majority of them with some of these podcast groups, conglomerates, etc. It's been really fascinating seeing how things have grown and flipped, and just trying to see where people are trying to take it now. No shade at the moment on iHeartRadio, but I'm like seeing what they're doing with certain people in podcasts. It's like, I don't necessarily know where this is going to go. Exposure is nice, but are you going to have control over the work that you've done, like you might have had beforehand? All of that type of stuff. It's we're in a fascinating place with this medium, and I'm just hoping that it doesn't go the way of certain other mediums, with it becoming, I guess, not being something that we can all grab a hold of and do. I mean, radio back in the day, everybody was able to have a radio station, just about, and then that disappeared. TV, there were lots of localized TV stations. That disappeared. I damn sure hope that doesn't happen with podcasting, because I know some folks who looked at internet radio were like, Life 365 shut down last year. And it was like, wow.
Yeah, that was sad.
That was crazy.
Because I listened to a Disney show called, or it wasn't even a show, it was a whole station, 24/7 station with Disney music from the parks called, Mouse Ear Radio? Yeah, something like that. Unfortunately, it shut, Mouse World Radio, and it shut down because of Live 365. Now, actually, I had heard, I thought I had seen an article about iHeartRadio running into money problems because they're not profitable, which is a problem for them. And that's the great thing about podcasting is, like, if you're not profitable, it doesn't really matter, as long because it might be a hobby, it might be your kid in your case, it might be something that you use as an indirect income to pull in clients for what you do. It could be again, it could be your hobby, it could be anything that you want it to be, and that's the beauty of being able to do it. And as long as the internet stays net neutral, we can keep that dream alive.
Definitely. That's another thing about podcasting too. You get real hip very quickly to how you can keep what you're doing rolling. Since that was a whole other thing where it was amazing to have people like, net neutrality. Hell no, don't mess with my podcast. Don't mess with my Netflix. And, because there's more people who are used to just having more forms of media, and it's something I think, this is going to sound all corny, but, us being currently in a democracy, we don't need to have less forms of media. We need to have more. We need to have more viewpoints. We need to have more people, doing the stuff they don't necessarily, get to see on TV. Like, when's the last time you saw a whole bunch of long investigative journalism, but via, the net in some way, shape, or form?
Like 2020 or those, Dateline? Is that what you mean?
Like 2020 or Dateline, like you got those, but that's like what, once a week, sometimes chopped up. But then you have some of these shows where they do like really in-depth stuff, or there might be some of the newspapers I know, they'll like have an article and then they'll have a podcast where they go in depth about their research and how they did certain stuff or whatever else. You just get more, you just get more ideas. You just get more ways of looking at the world. And podcasting was, the stepchild of media for a minute that's starting to step it up now. And we're seeing some interesting ways people are either trying to embrace it or trying to control it, because what if it gets to a point where the big, I'll just bring up right now because they're just on my mind. What happens if it just gets to being an iHeart that gets you the most exposure and you're, don't have a way of getting in, like your podcast host that have it in with iHeartRadio, like, is that going to make things better or worse, or is your steady audience going to be there like, I don't care and I'm going to still be down? Or are you going to be happy with the audience that you have? Personally, I'm thrilled with, the amount of people that listen to us. I would like for it to grow and expand, but I like the fact that it's been a natural growth, like, it's always pleasant to be there like, oh damn, somebody put some money into PayPal, woo, while, trying to get some extra, sponsors and all of that. But, it's great to be able to be like, we're literally a 2-person operation, and we're still able to get our listeners. We're still able to, since we DJ and do other media things, we're able to get them DJ gigs through it. We're able to get speaking of gig through it. Just this wonderful event. I did TEDx Orlando in 2012 due to the podcast.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Actually it was a great experience. Short story, actually reached out to them about doing some music for their event, and they were like, listen to your podcast because the link was in your signature. Wouldn't you rather speak? And I'm like, wait, what? A TED Talk? What the hell? And yeah, it was a wonderful situation. We've done various music festivals through it. Done various talks. The last podcast talk folks did was actually a panel with the folks over at excuse me, the DC Podfest. Shouts out to Jennifer Crawford and them, who will also be at Podcast Mid-Atlantic. I'm trying to segue all the commercial stuff and everything into it. And we actually did a great panel on diversity in podcasting there that I was able to mediate. And again, a lot of it just came from people being themselves. Like, I think sometimes you look at media and people always feel that they gotta, fit some type of archetype. Like, you gotta be the funny one, you gotta be the serious one, you gotta only talk about this. Well, podcasting is not really that way. And it's just a fantastic thing. Like, I know a group of people went to San Diego Comic-Con, and it's just a nice, great group of podcasters went down there, and their content is crazy, but that's because they were them. And they're all diverse podcasts who just happen to touch base on the quote-unquote nerd stuff. And it's definitely going to be a different viewpoint than, the Bleeding Cools and all that, who do great jobs, but it's, other people who just built up their own brands and made it happen in the realms of, with this particular group of folks on Podcasters of Color and whatnot. So it's just trying to get more stuff out there. And I think ultimately that's the point of any quality medium. Different voices, different experiences, and if you're lucky, you get to build little communities around that.
I would agree. And learning. I mean, because that's all it's about, learning. So if you only learn from sound bites, that's not enough to genuinely build to build a brand around for the most part. So I think it's awesome. I'm looking forward to having you come and speak, and it's going to be a great time. I'm looking forward. And yeah, shout out to Jennifer Crawford. I'm looking forward to going to DC Podfest this year. I wasn't able to make it last year, unfortunately.
Oh, it was a fantastic event. Jennifer Crawford and them really put it down, especially for first year event. Lots of diverse folks came through who had all different types of experiences, from the marketing ends to their different podcasts to just you being there like, oh, I didn't know there were this many podcasters who were in my tri-state area. This is awesome. So I think you'll definitely enjoy it. And I think, I don't know, like, I'm just one of those people who's big on independent media. I think I always have been. Maybe I was just spoiled because I came up through college radio, and I've been doing this to the present. And I just think it's just more vital than ever. Like, one of the examples I tend to like bringing up, because I got in first more hardcore on the music before getting into the music and the talk, is that when I first started doing my show, I think there were about 8 major music distributors. Now there are 2. We can sit back and we can look at how some of the radio station stuff went, especially, via the FCC Telecommunications Act in 1996. There were lots of local radio stations. Now, not so much. It's like, and I'm sure with yourself, I see that you travel quite a bit and everything. You can go from one whole region to another and hear the same playlist. Hear the same personalities, hear the same talk. I don't know how you feel about it, but for me, that's wildly irritating, So when you have something like a podcast, you can use whatever your podcast app is of choice, put on your Bluetooth, plug in your, your various means of playing MP3s or whatever, and just listen to different stuff and just go anywhere. That's a cool thing, You go to the gym, you can be like, here's my gym podcast. Here's my walking around podcast. I'm at my 9 to 5 and people are getting on my nerves and I don't want to strangle anybody. So I'm put on my favorite podcast. You have all of these new options now that you didn't have before because they were reduced by the quote unquote easier ways of getting media. And now, cheaper ways of getting media. And now if you have a cell phone, you can get a podcast. You got a tablet, you can get a podcast. And more people have these things. Not as many, that it could be, and I'm hoping that, things with like net neutrality and the way people are trying to expand broadband in this country and beyond and just access to Wi-Fi and things, it expands. But it's way more much of a thing now than beforehand. And I just think it's only helping everybody out for the better. If nothing else, I have fellow weirdos to talk to about, hey man, let's talk about these mics and how to get this RSS feed out and all this cool stuff, because you're not necessarily going to seem like the coolest gal if you talk about RSS feeds unless you're talking to somebody who knows what the hell that is and all that good stuff. And all that. But yeah, it's been a fascinating thing seeing the growth of podcasting. I can just only hope that it continues more. I mean, I think there are people who've been doing it for over 10 plus years, like the literal very beginning, who are still doing it now.
Yeah, Dave Jackson was just on, and he was been 11 years now.
School of Podcasting.
Yep.
Probably, yeah. He's one of my listeners, folks I listen to on my own personal list and all of that. And like to be in this for that chunk of time and be there like, wow, this is really something. Kind of makes you feel you're not the only person wearing the tinfoil hat of, I would like somebody to hear what I'm talking about. Somebody else must dig, the music that we're playing. And on the musician end, seeing musicians take podcasting more seriously for their own exposure, I think is good. Whether it's just getting a tune played, getting interviewed, maybe they themselves putting stuff together or whatever. It's something that's out of the regular box people are so used to. And I think with musicians especially, we're at a stage now where it's like, let's face it, you're not getting on these big corporate places if you don't build a foundation in the first place. And podcasting, honestly, is one of the more easier ways of doing it. You can do the blog posts and stuff, and that's cool. But somebody can always pull up a podcast and see they got a playlist. Oh, this many podcasts are playing this track. They have pretty nice followings. I might need to see what's going on, On the political ends, we've interviewed various folks from third parties on our show. And, you only get like literally the two same people, I think, on mainstream TV who have the other thing, which, no shade, God bless them. But it's like there's more out there. I think just the fact that people can't only say that here's a person who does this, but here's a person who does this regardless of, their politics, creative spin, so forth and so on. And we can just sit down and talk in depth with them as long as we want to. And you can get a pure chunk of them. That's not like the 30-second clip, which, hey, if you get a 30-second clip on a major news channel, that's great. That's wonderful. But if people want to get the real essence of you and you can just free form it out, you're not going to get better than a podcast.
Well, to go with what you just said, a lot of times if you do get that mainstream exposure, it's not about the mainstream exposure so much as how much you use that mainstream exposure after the fact. Because so-and-so was on Good Morning America. Like, how many people are actually sitting around on their couches watching every moment of Good Morning America? And you might only have a minute to 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes if you're lucky to be, to have exposure on there. Sure, there are people watching it, but it's not the level that you might want to believe or they want to believe that it actually is. It's probably playing in the background while people are getting ready, stuff like that. So it's really, important as a content creator, whatever the medium is, whether it is blog posting, video, podcasting, like whatever that way that you get that content out, is to utilize that, to leverage that to say, look, my content or what I do or what I'm putting out there was on these outlets. So what I do is good enough for that platform, even though I'm not on that. I'm not on BET every day. I'm not a regular guest or a regular host or a regular. I have my own TV show. But even to say you have your own TV show, how many times would you say for so and so has their own TV show? Well, what channel is it on? They're like, some channel that you've never even heard of, because we have hundreds and hundreds of channels for every niche or mostly any niche that you would want. And so it's like, oh well, that's kind of diluted too, versus like, oh, I have a show on NBC and it's at 10 o'clock on Thursday nights. Like, that's a pretty, that's like, boom, prime time, like, big deal. Versus like, I have a show that got picked up for a couple episodes, 6 episodes or something. Still an amazing accomplishment, because most people will never get to do that.
Yeah.
But again, it's how you leverage that after the fact, to get more exposure, and to, when people come to your site, like, boom, look, I had a show on TV. It was on this channel. You might never have heard this channel, but it's a channel. It exists, and that's how you get, you grow your audience and grow what you do through the validation of stuff like that. So if you do get it, you can use it. Now, Mary, as I was telling Dave, we're going to be having cheesesteaks. We're going to have a Philly lunch provided at the conference.
I will be eating the cheesesteak, so that's good.
Cheesesteak and
I'm
Philly
cheesesteak
pretzels. Glad to hear it. I'm hoping that it's good. I've heard good things, so I'm hoping that it's up to the standards of not just like, oh, it's a Philly cheesesteak, but you're in like DC, or you're in New York, or you're in.
I'm looking forward to
south.
the Philly. I'm looking forward to the Philliness of the Philly cheesesteak. Trust and believe. I actually have relatives around Philly, so I'm just here like, Philly cheesesteak for real? Okay, I'm going to be looking at this and scrutinizing it properly.
I hope so. I will be as well. So I'm looking forward to it. And is there anything else you'd like to add other than your affiliate link? So if anybody that's watching this at this point, your affiliate link. So the price right now for MapCon is $100, but you can save 10% right now if you. Hold up. Come here. Oh, look at that. Look at that smile. Hold on a second. Hold on.
So you got some family moment.
Yeah, we got some smiles. Now people on Facebook Live probably can't see this too well, because I'm just a little guy in a window. But
we got the newest Pardo.
Hey
Hello.
there. Hi.
Hello.
She should be well asleep by now. Well, pretty close to being well asleep by now. I heard her screaming earlier.
Aw.
Mwah. There's a little smile.
See, little future podcaster. She's like, I like the mic. I like being able to rock on this mic.
She does.
Get the spotlight, all that good stuff.
Hey there.
Yeah. And that's another reason why y'all should attend MapCon, because we have some folks here. When you need to become future podcasters, see, perfect commercial.
Yes. So she does join me on quite a few recording sessions. Not the interviews generally, but the solo and the pre-show that I do, where I talk about everything that's been going on and topics and stuff like that. And she'll be joining me in the very near future when I do YouTube videos as well. Okay. So that'll be a fun time. She's just staring up here. And so her name's Ava, for anyone that doesn't know. And she hopefully will be making an appearance at MapCon.
So there you go. How about young budding podcasters like Miss Ava here by attending MapCon?
Yeah,
supporting this event and plenty others, so she can learn, and all future mini podcasters can learn what's going on. And y'all can use my affiliate link if y'all want to go on ahead and attend this. And here's me live on Facebook Live on my tablet. That's crazy. Okay.
You have the link there? Because I have the link here if you don't.
I do have it, but I'm trying to get to... I just got Windows 10 on my laptop, so it is acting up and all that stuff.
It's midatlanticpodcast.com/fusion, FUSION. And you can get 10% off from now until... Really? You're that interested? Yeah, you can get 10% off too.
I would say, discounts are good, Ava. You know discounts are good. See, everybody should be following all of this right now.
Yes, you can get 10% off from now until the end of August 2nd. Because then after on August 3rd, the price goes up to $150. And I'm not sure what the discount. I think it'll probably still be a 10% discount off of that with the affiliate code. midatlanticpodcast.com/fusion, Fusion, so you can help get some money off of your ticket for MapCon.
Which is a great bargain anyway, but get that discount because I don't know how much everybody else feels like they're balling with their money, but I like saving money. So y'all can go ahead and use that discount code, save some. And in all honesty, I've been to various podcasting events and other stuff. You're not really getting much of a better bargain than this, y'all. You get a lot of stuff for the rate that's going on right here. Even when it goes up, you're getting a lot, but why would you want to pay more if you don't got to pay more?
I would agree. I mean, the only better way to do it is if you had found out about MapCon sooner and paid the $75 that it was originally. So, but we don't have time machines, I don't think, right, Mary? There's no time machines yet.
No time machines around here.
Can't go back in time. Though maybe it already happened. Maybe somebody went back in time already and registered at $75, and I wouldn't even know it because it already happened. Which, hey, if they did, you know what? Congratulations and all that good stuff. Let me know about going back in time, too, so I can get some lottery numbers, play one or two things. I won't get too greedy, just enough so I can. A few $100 million, that's all.
Just a few $100 million, Get my mom some stuff, pay off my car, get, a nice little island somewhere and all of that. But, yeah, guys, seriously, this is going to be a great event. Lots of great speakers are going to be there. It's not going to be the dry programming where everybody's just going to be sitting there all stiff and still and listening to, little brief presentations and all of that. And nobody's going to have, any fun or actual real networking time where it's just not you just passing along business cards, but actually talking like human beings. And y'all heard about cheesesteaks. Because I didn't know about cheesesteaks until tonight.
Oh,
so
yes.
Cheesesteaks.
Yes, cheesesteaks.
And pretzels from Philly. And, cheesesteaks and pretzels are quite the business right here. Let me share this video.
Can you get me
those folks who are still there?
Something to wipe her face with? She, spit up big time. All over
Parenthood.
Her clothes. Yes. Yes.
See, look at this, y'all. Podcast Parenthood right here.
Oh, man.
This is why he's Super Joe Pardo. He does everything.
Trying to.
Talks at the United Nations, does all kinds of podcasts, and does events like MapCon for us folks in the Mid-Atlantic region of the U.S.
Yes.
To get together and do podcasts. And there's going to be way more people, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Mark is coming from the U.K.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're actually international at this point, which is pretty incredible considering just last year we were pretty much up and down the East Coast. So, no, I appreciate the plugs, Mary, and we're trying. It's a community-based event, and I don't know if you heard the announcement earlier, but with Dave Jackson and two other who I haven't announced yet, podcast coaches will be on a panel playing the dating game with a newbie podcaster. And the newbie podcaster, bachelor or bachelorette, will get to pick at the end of the game which coach they want to go with for a coaching session.
Oh, okay.
To go on
so
a
you're gonna
date.
Get on that podcasting date, not the other type of dates. Podcasting date, which is still going to be a major thing for people and what have you. And I know people can't see you through the Facebook Live thing, but I'm like, I see your little lady Ava sponsors. They're like, yes, podcasting dates. Y'all need to be about that.
Yes, she is all about the podcasting and talking and trying to eat the microphone and all of that. So it's absolutely awesome when you get to incorporate your family members into this thing that we do called podcasting. And for all those actually that don't know, I actually ran a podcast with my wife leading up to Ava being born, where we talked all about the journey to parenthood called Birth. So I think it's like birthpodcast.com. Though actually, the web address might actually have gone expired. So I think it might not actually be available. I think I got to put it up somewhere else. Like I'll probably just put it into like a zip file or something or something somewhere. But yeah, we went from week to week talking about, we did, about you. We talked about you. Yeah, it was all about you. Yeah.
She's like, I literally known about podcasting from the very beginning, guys. Y'all don't know about that.
So Mary, I plug your website again, and then we'll plug the affiliate code or link, and we're gonna get out of here so we can get this little girl to sleep. Hopefully.
Not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. Y'all can check out the FuseBox Radio Broadcast. Y'all can check out the FuseBox Broadcast Radio anytime via our website, which is www.fuseboxradio. We finally got that name.com. FUSEBOXRADIO.com. Yep, somebody from England had it for the longest time, and then we were finally able to grab it. Or you can go to FuseboxRadioOnline.com, one straight word. Facebook.com/FuseboxRadioShow. Twitter.com/FuseboxRadio, and all the other social media is under the FuseBox Radio. As we always say, if you forget, just search for FuseBox Radio Broadcast via your favorite search engine of choice, and our lovely logo and a whole bunch of links will come up. We're available to listen to via all your favorite podcast services of choice. And that's how you can check us out. And as folks said beforehand, you can check us out at midatlanticpodcast.com/fusion, FUSION, for the discount to get to attend this wonderful event. You get t-shirts, you get admittance to all the programming that's happening, and just lots of ton of cool stuff. And if you go on the website, they have listings of all the folks who are speaking so far and basic programming and stuff like that. So for some of y'all who haven't met yet, one way or the other, it'd be cool to say hey to y'all in the greater Philly area during that wonderful weekend in September. And yeah, it's going to be fun. So thank you for this Facebook Live talk and all that good stuff. I hope your little lady gets some rest soon. I hope y'all get some rest soon as parents.
Thank you. Mary, you did
podcasting
such a
parents and podcasting baby. So
professional job there. A bang-up job. So reading all of that off right from the top of your head. I assume you don't have it written down in front of you.
I do not. I'm just trying to remember all the stuff. I guess part of that's been me doing certain stuff for a period of time. But this has been great, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody September 8th to 9th. It should be fun.
Yes, it should. So go again, midatlanticpodcast.com/fusion to get 10% off the current price, which is not the current price is $100. You'll get it for $90. It's going to be awesome. You also will get lunch as well. That was the cheesesteaks that we mentioned earlier. So and there's definitely some more surprises and things that I'm working on. So hopefully, and the podcast competition where you'll be able to go and create a 5-minute podcast with 3 other team members, and play for fabulous prizes, including hopefully, maybe if this works out, an ATR 2100 microphone from Audio-Technica for each of the members in the team that wins. So we're hoping. I gotta hear back from one of our potential sponsors on that. So if that comes through, if not, we're gonna do something. We're gonna have something great.
There'll be something great. There's no worries with that. So.
I will make something happen. Otherwise, that's what the plan is to give away microphones again, and we actually have some other surprises in there if what comes through comes through. So lots going on, and podcasting rules. And I love the fact that we as podcasters can come together, and we're not just a bunch of white nerd guys stuck in a basement or anything like that from when computing first started. And that's really
which
awesome.
is definitely a plus. Which is definitely a plus.
Definitely.
And all of that. And
we need people, we need voices, and we need experiences, and that's how we learn. So it's like I said, it's great that that isn't so monochromatic in the podcasting space. See, she's smiling for it too.
That's right.
You are.
Whoa. You don't want monochromatic podcasting. No monochromatic podcasting. That's boring and dry. And who wants to spend broadband time downloading something that's boring and dry? Nobody.
That's what TV's for.
Yeah, well, we can say that. That's what other stuff is for. That's not what podcasting is for. Definitely. Which is one last quick note that's great about podcasting. Somebody really likes what you're doing when they're downloading hour to 2 hour to 3 hours of a show per week. And they're getting to you where's your next show? If you're a few days late, we're just wow, somebody else genuinely cares. So another thing that's great about podcasting, I think even for the people who look at it on a business end, you have a dedicated audience. They're dedicated because one way or the other, they're going through a little something to get your show. Way less than back in the day, but they're going through a little something. So, that's one thing that's great about podcasting as a whole. The people who dig you, they really, really dig you. And they're the best people to proselytize about you and spread the word and all of that. So keep the podcasting thing rolling.
Certainly. Mary, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate your time and effort in the professionalism and your input as far as diversifying podcasting in the landscape of media in general is wonderful. So I look forward to hearing your talk September 9th and 10th. Again, MidAtlanticPodcast.com. Thanks again for everybody who tuned in, and shout-outs to all those people that wrote in comments. I'm sorry I didn't get to read really any of them. I feel bad, but you know who you are, and you're greatly appreciated.
And thanks everybody for checking us out and listening, and I hope to see more folks at the event. I hope everybody has a good night and evening, and September's going to be fun.
You can listen to the FuseBox Radio Broadcast via iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Podcast Addict, and your other favorite podcast players. Check out the FuseBox Radio's official website for our latest episodes, events, and more at FuseBoxRadioOnline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook at Facebook.com/FuseBox Radio Show, Twitter at Twitter.com/FuseBox Radio, and Instagram at Instagram.com/FuseBox Radio. Feel free to contact us at FuseBoxRadio@gmail.com to submit music for airplay consideration,